Personal story segment tonight. One of the men who may run for the Republican nomination 212 is former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty. The governor has written a new book called Courage to Stand, an American Story. And he joins us now. Now, I understand you're going to make a decision shortly whether you're going to run, correct?
That's right. That's right, Bill.
So what I'm interested in tonight is I don't want to talk about President Obama and the economy because that can change in 2 years. I mean, and it's going to. But putting the economy aside, what do you think his main vulnerability is? So you have to debate President Obama. Where are you going?
Well, there's some big issues that are going to lurk beyond the moment, and one is the Ponzi scheme that is the federal government and their spending patterns, and his lack of urgency and sense of seriousness about that to tackle it boldly concerns me a great deal, and
but
I think that's going to be a huge issue.
You saw the interview. He told me he was very serious.
Bill, he proposed $400 billion over 10 years in cuts. That's $40 billion a year. They overspent it by $1.5 trillion last year with trillion-dollar deficits as far as the eye can see. That's not serious.
But you know, that's a macro issue that a lot of people don't. They say, okay, so you're spending a lot of money. Well, how does that affect me? Can you make that an urgency issue?
Of course. It used to be that people said, oh, the debt or the deficit,
yeah,
what difference does it
really
make?
Real.
It's important. But now if you ask people, it matters a lot because what they see is government that's not working very well, that's growing forever, spending like crazy, and it's starting to impact the economy in ways that are making people mad.
Yeah, okay. Specifically, what happens if the government doesn't rein in spending? What happens?
Well, what happens is they continue to push money into the economy. One of the things that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see inflation go up dramatically. You already see that now. And you want to see a hidden tax on working class Americans? Run inflation up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% a year. That's going to be back to Jimmy Carter era. And by the way, this president reminds me a lot of Jimmy Carter.
All right,
that's
so they have to print more money to meet their debt obligations, and that means the money's not worth as much. So everything's going to cost more.
That's right.
And people's salaries aren't going to go up, so that they're going to be paying. Well, we're paying more for gasoline now. All right, so the debt and the big spending, that's a deficit for, in your opinion, for President Obama. Anywhere else?
Something else, Bill. There's a sense, and I know this gets tossed around, but I think it's true. He doesn't view America's role in the world as exceptional, and this equivocation in moral equivalence, I think, is going to get him in big trouble, going to get the country in big trouble. You asked him in that interview on the Super Bowl, you looked him right in the eye, and you asked him twice, I think 3 times, would you allow or would you encourage the Muslim Brotherhood to be the victor or lead the country of Egypt? And he wouldn't say no. He ducked the question. This is an organization that is anti-Semitic. They support Hamas. They have supported violent acts against Israel and other places. And you have the President of the United States sitting in the White House saying, you know, I'm kind of indifferent about that. I choose not to comment.
What do you think the motivation is for him not to condemn the Muslim Brotherhood? Why do you think he doesn't do that?
Well, I can only surmise he'd have to address that himself. But I think we need to stand on principle. When you have an organization...
So you don't know why he doesn't do it?
Well, I think he doesn't view the world as clearly or these principles as boldly or as strongly as I might or you might.
But surely he sees a danger in the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, they gun down tourists. Come on.
Well, so, for example, what danger does he see when he says we're going to reset relations with Russia and we accommodate Russia, and we're now learning more about the accommodations that were made to get that nuclear reduction?
Do you think he's soft? Do you think he doesn't understand the danger in the world?
Well, you know this. You know this. I know your background. You may have learned it in a bar room, a back alley, playground, or business, but it's always true. Bullies and thugs respect strength. They don't respect weakness.
Well, that's true.
When you see a president going on the one hand, on the other hand, it's all kind of the moral equivalent. Your system and values are as good as ours. They're not, and we need somebody to stand up, particularly the president, the leader of the free world and the leader of our country, to defend that and not run around the world apologizing or saying, yeah, it's all the same. It's not.
Somebody forks over $20 to read your book, Courage to Stand. What are they going to take away? What's the headline of the book?
The headline of the book is that you can learn a lot from hockey fights as applied to politics and life. But yeah, thank you.
I like that because I'm an old hockey player.
Hockeyfights.com. You ever been on it, Bill?
I have not. I had my own personal experience with hockey fights. I don't need to watch other people.
You got all your teeth?
I don't. I don't. And a lot of that was hockey.
No, it's I grew up in a blue-collar town and a meatpacking town, so it's a book on lessons learned in life and leadership and service with some hard knocks along the way. It's not a big, thick policy book.
Right.
I think people will find it interesting for that.
Governor, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. When you decide what you want to do, please let us know. We'll put you right on. Okay?
I'll do it. Thanks for having me.
Plenty more as the Factor moves along this evening. Factor has chosen the best and the worst Super Bowl advertisements. We'll show you our selections. And Dennis Miller analyzes a presidential interview, and Michael Moore suing to get money. Wow. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.